You might have seen my few videos where I was talking about NPCs in our lives and some of those triggers. And specifically, I've been talking about those weird adventures where I would take out my dog for a walk and I would have some weird people just like nobody around. Not a single person except these few girls just walk up to me, not say a single thing, and just stare at me. That was like kind of creepy, you know. Like I've had a few encounters of those that I've shared in the video, and since then, as I've been talking about manifestation and everything else, for me, like, everything I focus on, all the thoughts, feelings, and everything else, is gonna create my reality. And that experience I've had with those NPCs, from my perspective, you know, I could have focused on that and just be mad about how the world is or how creepy those people are. But I've did in the past few times without really noticing, and I noticed that, like, I attracted more of that. So this time, I had those experiences, and I was like, just focus on what I want. And the more walks I took, I was like, people love my dog. People love my dog. People love Tanjiro, and they're happy to see him and everything else. And the most wonderful thing happened. Me and Tanji, my dog, we go for a walk, and there's this lady that we met like 3, 4 times. She has this German Shepherd, and sometimes my dogs play with hers, but we don't really chat or anything. And a few days ago, we were walking, and we meet that lady again. She didn't have her dog. The dog was like at her house or something, and she saw Tangy, and she's like, "Hey, hi, Tangy!" Like she's all friendly, and so my puppy goes like sniffs her hand and just stands up and starts giving her boops that I've taught him to do and all. So that was like really cute, and she really loved it. She really loved the dog, and she's like, "Oh, he's so nice," and like one after another experiences where people compliment my dog, where people stop and admire him and everything else, and I'm like, if I would have focused on, oh man, this pisses me off, like every time, just like I try to take a walk and there's some random weirdos walking right at me and there's a trigger, if I would just spend time focusing on that, I would definitely attract more of that. But I have to like learn to, hey, acknowledge that it happened, but don't dwell on it. Just move on and focus on my future, that I want to be my past. And I focused on people loving my dog, and definitely it happened a lot. So, I've been living with that. Everything that's going on in my life, I'm just focusing on things I want to happen as if it was my past. And more I see wins all over the place. And I'm counting smallest things. Like, for example, I have a Japanese Akita, so his stomach is a bit more sensitive. And so if he eats anything weird, he can have runs, or he's gonna not feel too good. And, a few days ago, like, he had runs, so I had to wake up at 3 a.m. in the night and just, okay, let's go, like, outside, let's make sure you're good, you're doing good and all this stuff. And I started focusing, like, hey, solid number 2, he does a solid one, and it's all good, and he's feeling great, and he's eating kibble and everything else, and boom, last few days, I'm really happy. My dog's eating kibble. His number 2 is what I call, that stuff is solid and everything else is healthy. So like I'm like, hey, little wins, every single bit counts. But that's where I'm gathering up like every possible win I can get. I will count it, even if it's, let's say, I'm walking like, hey, look, I focused on solid number 2 and someone left it over there. Great, it's still a win. So yeah, like it's pretty amazing. This whole manifestation and attracting what you want. It's really amazing how it works, but it's simple, but just not easy. You have to focus on it, you have to practice it every day, deal with your case, and make sure that every possible negative experience, negative thinking, you counter with the positive, and again, as if it is the present or even happened as your past. And it's a lot of work, but it does count, and like every single bit. Like I take my wins where I can. Like doesn't matter how big or small they are, it's a big thing.